Welcome back to another lazy Sunday. Today we're going to be taking a look at the little Lighthouse kit that came from Airwaves TED, I seem to recall. Who was it that said it was rubbish? I can't remember, but I love the look of it. Stephen Ludgate, that was who it was. Stephen didn't like it, but I love it. I mean, I sort of know what it is. I don't know, we'll see when we get into the package, but it's one of my favourite circuits. In fact, it probably is my favourite circuit. So let's open it up. Not the Lighthouse bit isn't my favourite circuit, but and a flashing LED will get me every time. That's what we got here. Oh, hello. That's going to come in useful. This is a little resistor colour code chart, so I don't have to remember them. I don't remember them. I always just use my multimeter. But all right, we'll use this for now, and we'll see if that's helpful. I'll just pop you over there. Let's not worry about you too much. A bit of pressure there if I have to try and read something. So, what else we got? Oh no, the bag's stuck together. There we go. That is everything. So we've got the little Lighthouse itself. It's a lovely looking PCB, isn't it? It's got a little stand, so I'm guessing that just slides in, does it? Yeah, that's going to be ace. There are no instructions here, are there? Protopic's awesome, by the way. I really like their website, but you can go to get build instructions. Let's not bother with that, eh? We don't need to. So we've got some resistors here. We're going to have to look at these color codes. A couple of capacitors, a switch, a battery holder. God, do I have any of those batteries? Probably. Yeah, there's one just over there. We've got an LED. Don't know what kind it is. We can use this thing. Let's throw in, wrong way around 10 milliamps. So it's just a white LED. But like a diffused soft light. Nice. I managed to get this together, by the way. It is just, the problem was that rechargeable 9-volt battery. And we've got some transistors. I'm going to guess they're NPN. Yeah, it's a 2N3904 and another 2N3904. And that's it, isn't it? The pins on that a bit bent. We've got some resistors. Let's figure out what these resistors are, shall we? So we have one that said, oh, which way round do you read it? The tolerance, how many bars is this? Hang on, I need to get it up close to my face. So it's red, red, brown, gold. Red, red, brown, gold. So we've got 221, is that right? Red, red, brown. Red, red, brown. 221. The multiplier is gold. What? Okay, I don't understand that. Why is that right? 221. Oh, 1. Is 1 the multiplier? Okay, I don't know. 4 bands. So you read 221. Oh, whatever. I think it's 220 ohms. That's my guess. Let's see what this one is. It's got to be the one for the LED, hasn't it? This one is, I won't torture you with all of this. This one is grey, red, orange. So 8, 2, 3 and gold. 823. I don't really understand what I'm doing. So maybe orange is the multiplier, right? So 821K, 882K maybe. Oh, that makes sense, doesn't it? So this one is red, red, brown. So it's 2, 2 plus 10. So times it by 10, 220. That makes sense. Okay, we're getting somewhere. This one, geez Louise, so tiny. That makes it easier to see. So that is it that way round? I mean, it looks like pink. I'm going to go with red, but I can't be sure. Red, red, yellow, silver? Red, red, yellow, silver. 220k, that one. And this one is exactly the same. So 220k, what was that, 68 or 82? I think it was 82, wasn't it? So it was brown, red, gold. 1 to 82k and 220. Okay, well, in the future, we'll just be using my multimeter. But for now, I think I can remember what those values are. So let's start popping them into this thing, shall we? So we've got 220k. I should have read on the back, idiot. This one's got a weird one leg shorter than the other. That's not a problem. So there's 220k. Let's fold those leads out a little bit. Just hold it in. We've got 220k. And we've got our 82k. So I think when we've done this, because I don't think it's going to take an awfully long time, we can have a look at what I think the schematic probably is, or something similar, because I've made a circuit like this before. I can't remember if I've ever done it on the channel or not, but it is one of my favorites. Let's come out a bit, because it's pretty difficult for you to see what I'm doing. God, they're so tiny, look at them. They barely fit. So we could probably leave it at that and solder those bits in, shouldn't we? That would be a good idea. Let's just nip a little bit of solder off. We'll just do it like this. And just do this flat on the table. We don't need a vise or a holder or anything like that. So yeah, this is one of my, I think it's one of my favorite circuits, if it is indeed what I think it is. But I previously have built this circuit and used 2 LEDs, and this one seems to only have one, unless it's like some kind of bi-directional one or something. I don't know, we'll see. You know, one of those ones where it has like red on one side and green on the other, and you just shove current in either end. Right, there we go. Oh, I missed one. Cutters. I can't find my usual cutters, so we're just going to have to... God, these are crap. Okay, I'll find the usual cutters. Okay, I found them. By the way, these aren't crap. These are wire strippers. They're not meant for this task. I really shouldn't have pushed those leads down quite so much, because now they're going to be difficult to cut. Never mind. We'll just sort of trim them. If anything on a lazy Sunday becomes the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, then it will be a bit of a surprise. Let's get our transistors in. Now, these go, what is it? EBC, I think? Emitter collector base, I believe. I have to spread these out a little bit. And the same with this one. So what I think this is an astable multi-vibrator. like a free running oscillator essentially. Not that you should ever listen to me when I talk about electronics, because I don't really know very much. I'm not trained in any way. Let's get these soldered in. And then we'll, what do I want to put in next? Probably the capacitors. Now these are like the essential part of this circuit. They charge up and discharge. And when they discharge, the negative side of the, oh crumbs, which way am I putting this? That way. The negative side of that capacitor is at like a negative potential, I think. Right, we're at that stage now where I shouldn't be talking about electronics because I don't know quite how to explain it. But essentially one side of the capacitor charges up and then it will discharge into the base of one of those transistors. And that means the other side of the capacitor has a negative potential on it, so a lot more negative than okay, we'll go through that one more time. So in some way we'll get this right. So do you know what, we'll do this afterwards. I'll draw up the diagram once we've put this thing together. I had a quick look on their website. I think they've probably got a schematic up there I can take a look at for this one. But what I'll probably do is just... right, so that's that way around, isn't it? Is that right? Positive on the outside? Yeah, it is. Let's just double check that's right. I think this one's ground. Yes, it is. So let's pop that in. It's going to fall out a little bit. We'll just do one pin. Yeah, you can see it's not quite sitting right. There we go. Let's snip these leads off. And then all we've got left is the LED. Let's make sure we know which way it goes. Positive to this side, through that 220 ohm resistor. I guess, do we just fold it up? Don't really have a picture of it. Just like that, I guess. Is that going to look okay? Maybe. We'll see. I'll just put one in and then we'll straighten it up because it's going to look really weird. Oops. There we go, let's straighten that up. That'll do. Chop those legs off. There we go, there is our LED in. Now we just need to put the switch in. On the back, do you think? Yeah. Gonna need a little bit more solder. Gets to the point with solder where you can't tell it apart from the legs of resistors and things. And at that point, it's trying to just grab another bit. That sucked up all the solder, didn't it? There we go. Okay, should we put a battery in to test it? Let's drop the legs off this. I've only got this battery. Is that going to be good enough? Oh, it is good enough. It's a lithium battery I've got. So there we go. It is flashing. Let's get the base soldered on. Come on out, battery. There we go. Probably should have done that base before I put the switch in. Oh well, it'll be fine. So let's come in a little bit, shall we? Not that you can now see any of it. Oh, that seems to have worked. See, does it stand? It does. Let's get the other sections done. This is where I could do with something to hold this thing. Never mind. Oh. And then I'll just pop a bit more solder on this side. And then we're going to go in for that switch, I think. Let's just clean that iron first. There we go. Pop that battery back in. That is pretty sweet, isn't it? I kind of love it. Right, let's get a bit of paper in here and we can draw out the circuit, or at least what I think it is. So our circuit has our, well, we've got our positive rail. Hopefully you can see this. So let's call it 3 volts. Although I have to admit, I've had some instances where, let's come in a little touch, where 3 volts hasn't really worked with this kind of a circuit. We've got our, probably our first transistor down here somewhere. Let's draw one in. God, how do you draw? There's an arrow on there, isn't there? So we've got our collector, emitter, base. This is a 2N3904. And going to the base of our transistor, well, we're sort of connecting it to the other side of, whatever, we'll start with our LED. So our LED's on one of these, but generally I've got 2. So when I do these normally, we've got an LED here. And we've got, well, they're using 220. I use 470 usually ohm resistors. And then that's going directly into our collector. But we have a capacitor on here. So this is a bipolar, not bipolar, a polarized capacitor, and that's our positive side just there. And that one goes to the base of another transistor. This is going to get messy because I don't really know how I'm going to draw it, but I'm going to try and draw these back to back so that you can sort of see what's going on. So let's put another transistor over here. Again, there's its collector and emitter. Now our emitter is actually going to ground, so we can draw that down here. And then, so that heads over to the base of that transistor, but the base of that transistor also has a, well, there's 2 of them actually. 2, in this case they're 220 ohms, but Previously I've used something like 400, I think. So we've got two of these going over here to there. So those ones are 220. We'll just do it as 220, shall we? 220K. And then again, this one has a capacitor on it, on the just there, polarized capacitor. Now, usually I have like another LED up here. It would just be the same. Oh wait, I've done this wrong. Hang on. Usually I would have another 470 ohm resistor up here and an LED. And so this circuit then sort of flip-flops around. But in this case, we've got, oh, I've forgotten to connect this other capacitor. Hang on a minute. Oh no, it's going to go a bit weird now. Let's pretend we're going to have to do like a jump, I guess. It goes down here to the base. I'm sorry, that's become really weird. So the negative side of this capacitor goes to the base over here. What I should have done is just drawn this differently. Anyway, if I draw some big circles where the actual connections are, then you'll see the other ones that aren't connected. Is that right? That looks right. Yeah, okay. So that's our circuit, but in this scenario, it doesn't look like we have one of these LEDs and they've put a resistor in its place. So we've got these 220 ones. So on this one here, we've got 220 ohm resistors, and then we've got the resistor for our LED, that's 220 ohms, so 220K, 220 ohms, and then that was something like a 62 or an 82, an 82K resistor, and they've got that coming down here, which is charging up this capacitor, which is then going to discharge through that transistor. Now, I don't know why they've done that. Why didn't they just have, well, I would have just had another LED or something, but still, that's the way it works. And then this one would be a dual LED flasher. Sorry, that's an LED, isn't it? Let's put some arrows on there. So one would be on, then it would be off. The other one would be on, the other one off. In fact, we can build one right now. Should we do that? All right. Let's see if we got some components we can use. So we've got a big old box of resistors, and I'm just going to use my little junk trays because I'm fairly sure there's probably enough in there to deal with this simple circuit. So let's get a couple of LEDs. Do we want to make them different colors? Maybe, I'm not sure I've got any other ones here. Oh no, I do. Let's fish out one of these yellow ones. And we're going to need some transistors. What do we got? What's that? 2N3906. I don't want one of those. Something unrecognizable. 2N3904. That's one. We're going to need another one. But let's pull out some resistors because I can see some 470 ohm ones here. Not because I can count the bands, but because I recognize them, because I use them all the time. Now I just need one more transistor. Is that one? 3906, not what I want. There's one. Is that one? 2N3904. Now we need a couple of capacitors. What we got here? That is a 2.2 microfarad, something a bit higher probably. 4.7. And what's this one? That's a 10, that'll do. Now we need a couple of high-ish value resistors. Let's see, 75K, that'll do. Might just flash quite fast. So let's come in a little bit. We're going to be replicating our circuit essentially. So we might have to use a couple of wires because I'm not sure how clean this will be. Let's go with our 220, 220, 470, and a 470 over here. That's our resistors going to go on that, and then we're going to want that on the collector of our transistor. So we'll put one there. Oh, they're probably going to have to be closer together actually. So let's put them close together. There we go. And then our other LED just going to go there. We're going to bring these forward actually because we want to put a resistor on the back of them. So on the base of our transistor, we need to put these high value resistors. So into VCC and into the base. And then our capacitors, if we look at this diagram, let's come out a little bit. If you look at our diagram here, they go into the collector and the negative side goes into the base of the other transistor. So collector to the base. Whoa, okay. The legs on this thing are proper wild. It doesn't look pretty, but let's do the other one as well. So just there, and move our LED up. This is not going to look all that pretty. You can see the LEDs though, so we're fine. And then we need to put the emitter to ground on both of these. And that's it, isn't it? That looks to be everything. So let's get the power supply on. And we're set at 4 volts, that'll do. It could be 3, but 4 volts is okay. And then I need another wire. Okay, I've only got yellows, but that's fine. And turn it on, I hope nothing explodes. Hey, there we go. So you can see one of these is staying on for longer, and that's because the difference in capacitors. Have we got any other ones in here? I don't see any other capacitors. Oh, we did have one, didn't we? Oh, there it is. So let's pull that 10 microfarad out. Oh no, it's 4.7, so actually I did want that one. Let's pull that one out and put that one back in. And pop this one in instead, so that goes there to there. So it should be, well, that is not flashing. There we go. The other capacitor wasn't in properly. So it's sort of a bit more equal now. God, that looks rubbish, doesn't it? Let's just have that out and put a proper LED in. Oh, that capacitor is not in properly, is it? There we go. So that's our little flashing circuit next to this bad boy here. So thank you very much, Airwaves Ted, appreciate it. And I love reliving this circuit. It's one of my favorites. All right, that is a lazy Sunday. So I'll speak to you all soon. Oh, I'll leave the thingy on the screen so you can have a look. Whoops. So if you fancy making one, super simple circuit, really like low component count, well, sort of, but I mean, you could do it with a 555 or an 80 tiny or something, but it's much more fun to do it with just transistors and some capacitors and resistors. All right, I'll speak to you all soon.